can't stand people.
Everything gets so twisted and warped and fucking... There's vitriol on both sides that gets injected into everything, and then everybody takes everything else the wrong way, and nothing gets done, and everybody just ends up yelling at each other.
But Cole, I don't
because
want
they
people
don't
to
want
be
to
oppressed.
sit. They don't want to fucking exactly. I'm being oppressed. Well, maybe if you would sit down and talk with the other side and say,
my life,
"This
Cole.
is my view," and the other side says, "This is my view," and come up with a fucking compromise.
Okay, I actually made a Facebook post about this a long time ago. Well, not too long ago. It was during election season, but it was like, if you're not willing to like sit down and talk to the person, you probably aren't worthy of being part of the debate. If you're not going to listen to the other side.
Exactly. That's why it's called a debate, because you sit and you hash it out. You talk about it. You don't just speak your mind and then go la 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 when the other person's talking. That's not how debate works.
Incredibly clear. Both sides do this horribly.
They do.
Like, I can't stand both parties at this point. Like, I really, really can't.
And I get that, you know, it's the vocal minority.
It feels like it's not anymore.
Well, okay.
It feels like everybody that voted.
Well, let me rephrase this. There's a group of people on the extreme on each extreme end, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there's those groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's people in the very middle.
The only reason before you keep going, I'm sorry. The only reason I'm not saying this is a minority is because these are the people. These are the same people that decided this election. This is literally the people that picked our candidates are these same people that are usually the ones.
Okay, so let's put it in terms of an election. You got the blue people over here that stand for one extreme side,
and you got the
red people over here that stand for the other extreme side.
I mean,
and then you got the green people in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you got the gray people on either side of the green people.
Mm-hmm.
Now the gray people are the people that are undecided or don't care and just absorb any kind of information that comes in from any of the two extreme sides.
Yes.
Okay, so then they spread it around, and then the people in the middle are like, well, that doesn't make any sense. You know, you can't actually believe it. So it's like there are people like us in the middle who know what our values are, and we know what we believe in, and we realize that, you know, well, why are you guys could just talk. Like, we're not easily swayed by either side.
But they won't 100% agree with my side, so why not?
Exactly. Okay, so then there's those two extremes, right?
Yeah.
The ones that will not talk to each other.
It's my way or the highway.
Exactly. So then you've got all these gray people that either don't know enough, don't care, or, you know, they're the people that'll agree with whatever is said to them.
Yeah.
Don't have any real strong beliefs, whatever.
Well, your side is wrong anyway, because you're just brainwashed by the liberal media, or brainwashed by a bunch of conservative groups that you're stuck in.
So then those
your
people,
religious cult.
Those people listen to the extreme side, because the people in the middle aren't either. There's not enough of them, or they're not loud enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they can't sway. Obviously, you can't sway the extreme ones because they're so set in their own mindset that they're not going to budge at all.
They kind of set out their crazy to other people.
Exactly. They send their crazy to the gray people. And then the green people in the middle are like, they're trying to say, okay, well, do you realize why that makes sense? And you might get some people to come into that and be like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? And then you get people that'll end up switching to the other side, or they'll fucking it's hard to explain because everybody's different. So
one thing I think this is like, it's honestly super fitting that we played that Phoenix Wright game recently, because it just makes me think about it. But I feel like this election was literally run on both sides by mob mentality only.
Yeah,
it was just mob mentality.
Like I was so stressed during the entire election process because I was like, I could just see what was going on. I just saw it everywhere, and I was like, why are so many people buying into this?
I think
there's so many.
I'm not afraid to admit this, but I'm one of the people that really did hate both candidates, like, from the start.
I did too.
I really did.
I didn't like either one.
It's like, but he's our president, and I was like, whatever. I'm not going to get on my fucking knees and worship him. He serves our country. We don't serve him. Not that way. So people are thinking, because somebody literally said, like, it's like shut up now and salute your president. Like that's not
That's
how it
a
works.
dictatorship.
That's not how that works, buddy.
That's not how the president works. That's a dictatorship.
I'm not gonna go like to another country and start insulting the dude.
That's a
but I'm gonna be
hostile
critical.
right
I've always been fucking critical when we have our presidents on. I don't like everything Obama does, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, he's ruined everything. Sure, it's not everybody's like. There's a lot of things that do need to be like adjusted in Obamacare, but honestly, the idea is not a bad idea. Like, oh, it's just nobody
No,
has healthcare.
it needs tweaked. It doesn't need to be thrown out.
It's like, no, it's ruining my life. Just get rid of all of it.
It needs to be defined.
It's like, thanks for wasting 8 years of my life. Literally, if you throw it out. God, just make it better. Just make it better. Why is that such a fucking hard idea? It's like,
no, because
work for your...
Because it's that fucking mentality. It either has to be one way or the other. And it's like, that's not how anything works.
You want healthcare, earn it. Earn it.
Like, people... I've seen this increasingly when it comes to politics. People see so much of politics as black and white.
Dude, wait.
And it's like, it's not. There are so many shades of gray in there that you're overlooking, and you would rather just say because they're liberal or because they're conservative, they're wrong.
I'm going to point out two hypocrisies just so I make both groups either, like, okay or fucking angry at me, but whatever. Here's the hypocrisy from the Democrats that I saw, is that when the election was over, they said, would they accept the results? And most of them said yes, where most Trump supporters said, no, we would not accept the results. However, what the hell happened after the results of the election that we had?
The Democrats flipped the fuck out.
Yeah, they freaked out crazily. And it's like, wow, all these movements, this blocking of traffic and all this crazy stuff. It's like, you weren't very accepting at all. That's an incredibly hypocritical thing. And then we have something recently with the Republicans is that a lot of people that, Trump said that he was going to say don't get to come in the office are now coming in and being part of it. Even though it was like, oh, well, our vice president is fixing that, I guess. Maybe I haven't researched that enough. But recently
that was at one point that he took all of them out and then Trump's putting them back in.
Again? Got it. Okay. So there's some hypocrisy. And somebody was like, there was literally an interview with a guy and he's like, why would you want these people back in? It's like, well, don't you want like somebody who knows what they're doing and an expert going into this? And it was a late show thing, and it was like, I think that was literally the entirety of Hillary Clinton's campaign was that. It's like, don't you want somebody who's an expert and knows? Because look, don't even joke with me. Trump has no experience in this field whatsoever.
No,
he is just a businessman.
Yeah,
he's a businessman. Plain and simple.
You can say that he has.
So when you go like, oh well,
does.
You either want a cleansing of the government or you want experts in. You can't pick or choose because you're like, oh well, this person's saying what I want to hear, so I'm gonna say yes to them. You assholes! That's not how it works. Especially when you like fundamentally are on that train for that. Like you're like, oh well, it doesn't matter because everybody in the government sucks. We want to get rid of them anyway. And then suddenly turning around and being like, no, we want experts in because we want our party to have the most power.
To be honest, though,
people are sheep. I hate it.
They're
so angry.
Yeah, the people
are sheep. I mean, I've like we're not perfect. I've had that mentality happen to me too, but I've been aware of it. And like, wow, I didn't like that. I'm gonna try to not be a part of that ever again.
I can think back to points where I was like that, and what I can say now is I can't believe that I was like that. In those situations, there was no reason to be. I just, you got caught up in the moment. It just happened. Mm-hmm. But it's in stupid things like going to a football game or fucking, shit that doesn't really have any impact on, the massive scale of people this is going to affect.
Have affected me really personally because I was a part of Amway once before. I was actually a super good experience, and I was glad I actually got out of it at the last second and got all my money back. It was really great,
nice.
But that was an amazing experience.
Yeah,
because I'm like, wow, that's literally the power of mob mentality and being suckered into something. I got suckered into a pyramid scheme for everybody.
Yeah,
woo!
And I remember that because we all came to you and we were like, Nick, this is really bad. You shouldn't, you need to not. And you were like, but it's so good. But
well, I wasn't adamant about it. I was more
but I think it's a good idea.
I might as well try it. It doesn't seem like that bad, but you know what? I'm all the more wise for that experience.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
understand it way more. Was that something stupid that happened to me? Absolutely. Am I gonna let it ruin my life? A little bit, but you know what? It's fine.
I'm gonna be mad at myself about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be pissed. It's good that I'm pissed about it still.
Yeah, because it keeps you from doing it again.
Yeah. Like, I'm way more aware of that happening. And you know what? I don't think everybody's had that same experience, so not everybody's like, oh, wow, I'm part of this mob mentality. You don't... The best part about a mob mentality is that you don't know that you're part of a mob mentality.
Yeah.
The only reason I know I'm not is because I'm right here alone, sad in my bed all the time. When you're going out and being part of, like, your social cliques, like, that's another thing, is that I'm only part of this clique.
Yeah.
And we barely talk about politics at all, except for when it was election time.
Right.
We're usually talking about video games.
Yeah.
And
Or
I think
just
our gaming,
things that are
I think our
going on.
gamer like clique is actually very diverse, which is really nice. Our PC gamer, he gives us shit all the time. But no, yeah. So it's weird. Like I've been there. I understand it. I've tried to be aware of it, and I try not to like fall into these same pretenses. Like I was honestly like, well, I guess everybody's cheering. I mean, it can't be wrong if everybody's cheering, right? And then if you actually like fact check all these people, they are liars and scoundrels. I mean, Trump is easy to find stuff out about. Hillary is a little more cryptic, but a lot of stuff she said did not add up. She's like, oh, I was there at the walk. It's like, no, you weren't. No, you absolutely weren't. I just checked. You weren't there in anything, files, any pictures, anything. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's been
the internet doesn't help because, and that's another thing that I've said before is
you're mobbed by this information that may or may not be true.
Exactly. You have no idea whether or not, you know, and it's all about who says it the loudest. Whoever says it the loudest gets the attention, and then you believe that is fact, even if it's completely wrong.
This is not a political example, but because it's an example that's happening to me recently, is because you know how many rumors came out about the Switch and what their features are? I literally just started taking them at truth because I had no idea what it could be. Yeah. And I see these the most, like, well, these insiders probably know what they're talking about. I'll keep using it. It's
Turns
like,
out nobody knew what they were fucking talking about.
Except this one person was dead on. So
okay,
I'm going to believe this person.
Okay, but there was one person out of how many?
A lot.
Exactly.
A lot. See, that's another good example. Well, that was the thing. I was aware of it. I'm like, you know what? This is probably not true, but I want to believe it.
What was that thing that happened recently with the pizza place or whatever? Did you hear about that?
The animatronics killed a bunch of children.
No, fucking... it was something about... Hillary Clinton did something at the pizza place or whatever.
Did she kill a bunch of children?
No,
don't worry, I'll end up that giant pause.
I can't remember how it went, but like, they said that something had gone down at this pizza place, and turns out there was nothing.
Yeah,
it was a rumor that was started by I think it might have been someone on Reddit. I'm not sure, but it was completely fake.
Yeah,
like nothing. It was just something somebody said, and then it got enough traction, and enough people saw it that enough people believed it.
It's the war of social media.
And then somebody, and I remember it had something to do with Hillary Clinton because a guy actually went there later and like shot a sign or something with an assault rifle.
Yeah.
And he got arrested for it. And like that actually happened, but he was there because of the story that he saw on the internet about the pizza place. And I was like, what the fuck?
Why did he shoot the sign first off?
Well, he was there with a rifle. Somebody said there was one thing that said he shot someone, and then there was another thing that said he shot a sign. So what I'm going with is that he showed up with a rifle and was arrested.
What does that have to do with Hillary Clinton at all?
He was investigating her, is what he said to the police. They were like, what were you doing here? And he was like, I was investigating the thing with Hillary.
But what was her thing that was rumored?
Like I said, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember what exactly that thing was.
I feel like there's like some missing context.
There is. There completely is, and you should go look up the story if you're interested. But because obviously I am not. I will say right now I am not the person you should be taking this as fact from. So, but I will say that it is something I saw on the internet that so many people believed and turned out not to be true.
I'm gonna throw in something that's really interesting. Is that somebody told me not to believe these peer-reviewed scholarly journals because they were paid through liberal pockets, is what I was told. How do you feel about that? Because to me, that's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, personally...
Okay, it was 98, it was peer-reviewed by 100 people. 98 people agreed with this, and 2 people did not. And it's about climate change, so I'm just going to throw that out there to give some more context to it. But they're like, climate change doesn't really exist. Like, it's just paid through liberal pockets. And I want to be like, you're a fucking idiot, but I'm like, at the same time, it's like, you know what? There's been so much bullshit recently. It's not entirely off the table, but I don't want to believe that 98 people didn't just bow out and be like, oh, I'm going to give, okay. Oh, I can't make these guys mad at all.
Okay.
And it really depends on how they peer-reviewed it as well.
I'm going to say that as the slightly paranoid half cynic that I am, I say half cynic because there are things
Jets can't melt steel beams, Cole.
There are things that I am almost always positive about, and then there are things that I am almost always cynical about.
Yes.
So, I almost always assume that any kind of quote unquote important discovery or information about anything that's happening or whatever, that there is the possibility of it being either bought and paid for or tampered with.
Absolutely.
Or lied about. And I keep that in mind every time I read something.
Yes. I
have to hear it from multiple sources that I consider to be credible.
I think it's impossible to be 100% unbiased, literally.
Yeah, I would say it's nigh on impossible to be 100% unbiased on anything. Because that's just the nature of humans. We're emotional creatures.
Yes.
And you can get rid of most of your bias, but you'll always have a tiny bit at the very least. Because
then it makes me consider different ideas. Like, well, maybe because they've heard it's like happening in real so much that they do it. But then again, these are scientists that this is their job, and this is what they do. Like at the same time, why should I? If I could question that, why do I even believe in anything?
Right. And it's because it's one of those things where it's like you as an individual have to choose what to believe and what not to believe.
But to me, it's I want to believe in these scholarly journals because these are the same. Because the people that attack it are the same people that are like, well, this vaccine gives you autism, which is the dumbest thing in the world. And with somebody that has autism in my family, it makes me, I think, even more angry than a normal person should get.
And that's the thing, is most people make decisions based on things that have affected them, past experiences, information that they've been given by people they trust.
Somebody in the past got autism from a vaccine?
Okay, I'm not...
I'm pretty sure that's never happened.
There are people that have... I'm not saying they're smart people.
You better say some things that won't make me super angry.
There are people that have children
mm-hmm.
that they believe were completely fine, didn't have autism, didn't have anything, and then their autism surfaced after their vaccine.
Didn't even cry.
So they believe
mm-hmm.
that the autism was caused directly by the vaccine because that's the only thing they did different. And that's what they see. So that's what they believe.
Can I still choose to call them idiots?
You absolutely can.
Absolutely.
That's the whole point of living in America. You can call anybody an idiot who you want. As long as you don't, try to fucking kill them over it.
Can I be like, I actually have an education, whereas you probably live in bumfucking whatever, Kansas?
Sure.
I always rip on Kansas, but they deserve it.
Because I'm not talking about any specific person. I just know that there are people
you were definitely thinking of somebody but you don't have to mention it, but I know
Well, I don't know specifically who, but I know that there was at least a person, if not many people, who have had this happen. Their kid was fine, they got him vaccinated, and then their autism surfaced.
But here's the thing: did they ever get themselves checked for their kid for checked?
Probably not.
See,
I don't know that as a fact. I'm saying probably not. Because I don't know. I don't know these people.
Autism is weird to diagnose, if I remember correctly. It's a really weird. It used to be a weird process. It might be different now.
And see, that's the thing. Is you and I
There's also different levels of autism, which make it harder.
Okay, so you and I don't understand why somebody could believe that, because you have dealt with autism
I don't understand
personally.
how somebody could not have a brain.
Exactly. You know what it's like.
This is like the one thing where I'm like, there's no There's no rhyme or reason for me to agree with the other side. This is my extremism.
Right.
Everybody gets one. This is my one.
So you have a personal experience. You have a personal attachment to that. Okay. I do too. My mom worked with autistic and behavioral kids for, what was it, like 11 years?
Mm-hmm.
Very long time. I picked up a lot of knowledge about it.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't make sense to me that a vaccine would cause... Like, why would you ever think that?
It stole the genes from him, Cole. It stole his good genes.
Now, we share that ideal because of our experiences. And the same can be said for anybody on the other side of that. So, that's why it's hard to say, like, you shouldn't believe in this or you shouldn't believe in that.
It's honestly a very fair point. I honestly could not understand why they would think this. Because to me, it's the dumbest thing in the world, and there's no scientific proof for it.
But to them, it makes total, complete sense, and
you're
the crazy one.
It.
Yeah.
Well, they're living bumfucking Kansas. Why do I care what they think?
Okay, see, there's your bias, though.
I told you I'm extremely biased on this one subject.
No, that's good, though, because that proves that nobody...
Yeah, it honestly proves what we were saying earlier.
You can't be... There's no way to be 100% unbiased.
Yeah.
There's no way. Because you're not wired to do that.
I would honestly...
If you're a fucking Dr. Spock Vulcan guy, you could probably do it, but...
I feel like I would love to have a conversation with somebody that actually believes that, but I feel like I would have zero self-control over myself. And that's the problem, I think. Yeah. That's another problem. That's something that we mentioned earlier, too. Is that nobody has self-control.
Well, humans are beings of conflict.
We don't vote. We don't usually go on stuff that makes logical sense. We go on stuff that makes emotional sense.
Exactly. How do you think Trump got elected?
Yeah. Let's just say, you know what? We'll throw more mud on the water. It's how Hillary Clinton also got the Democratic nominee as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it is. It's true.
And it wasn't even because she necessarily was eliciting an emotional response. Trump was eliciting an emotional response.
We're afraid, and she has the best chance of winning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He elicits a fear response from people who don't like him, so they vote for the other person, and then people that like him, he evokes positive emotion from them, so they're more likely to vote for him.
I remember talking to somebody recently, not recently, but back during the caucuses, and they were like, "Oh, I want to vote for." I think they were like, "I want to vote for the third guy." I don't remember who his name is, but he was the other guy that was next to Bernie. I was like, "I'm gonna vote for this guy," who I just remember him being pretty jacked for a presidential person, and. Or Bernie Sanders, but I think Hillary Clinton has the best chance, so I think I'll vote for her. And then I was like, wow, I'm seeing history in motion. Like, literally, I'm doing my own science experiment naturally. It's weird.
It's
interesting.
It's interesting. It's fucked up.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Well...
Like, that really is, like, my strongest bias, I think, is that one issue. Besides, I think I'd have another... My other strong one, I think, is that stem cell research is, like, absolutely 100% okay for me to do, because it's, like, it doesn't involve abortion like a lot of people associate it with. Mm-hmm. It can involve abortion, but for the most part, it doesn't need to. There is such a thing as using adult stem cells. Yeah. But no, you're playing God at that point.
Plus,
you know what?
Also, okay, so playing God, essentially, is a sin worthy of being smited, right?
Fuck that.
Okay, so...
If God didn't want me to do it, he wanted to put it on Earth.
That's my point.
Yeah.
If God didn't want it to happen, why isn't he stopping it?
Yeah, smite those gay guys.
Why wouldn't he just, if he's done it before,
like in the windows, I see you gay guys.
According to the fucking Bible, he's done it before.
Yeah.
He fucking burned Sodom to the fucking ground.
I mean, he's busy.
He killed all those people.
Cole, he's busy.
Why is it different? Why is it different now that he's not doing anything? Why is it different now?
He's trapped in the Holy Land. We have to do another crusade.
That's why it doesn't fucking make any sense. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's weird because before we started this podcast, I mentioned that there was something that bothered me as a Catholic. That when we played an old Flash game, and I was like, wow, that really bothered me. So it's on that weird where I draw my line. It's like that doesn't bother me like whatsoever. But playing God, do it for the better of humanity and science, because you know what.
But then defiling the sanctity of a religious symbol.
Dude, I have a problem just putting I'm not gonna nail somebody to a cross. That's fucked.
And
man.
You want to know why? Because
like
you were raised that way. You were programmed to believe that is something you should not do.
I don't want to nail anybody to a cross. It's
okay, no, I'm talking about defiling the actual, the crucifix.
That's true. Like, I think if it was, because I don't know, it's weird.
Because let's say you were raised.
I think it was something that's like it put that power in my hands. Like, oh, you have to do this to play the game. Like, wow, I really don't want to do that. So
yeah. So like, let's say
that's
this:
the farthest
if you were raised without any religious bias, your parents weren't religious.
I'd probably think,
they
wow,
didn't
this
mention
would be
anything
really...
about God. But you saw people go to church. Like, say you went into church for the first time.
I probably, honestly, would probably do it, but I'd be like, wow, if I was a Christian, I'd be really pissed and upset with that. And you know what? Because I've seen the same thing where I'm like, wow, if I was, like, Muslim or something, I'd probably be upset with that. But
would you be?
No, because I'm not upset with
But
stuff.
you could empathize.
Yeah, because there's...
Or sympathize, I guess.
Empathize.
Because you wouldn't have had that experience.
If I didn't empathize, I wouldn't be a fucking human being, honestly. I'd be, like, hiding, like, a natural human emotion. People are like, oh, men are sturdy and like don't show emotions. Like, no, that's not natural. We're supposed to show tons of emotion, like all of us are.
Right.
That's a sociology thing.
That's why men have tear ducts just like women do.
No, we bleed out of our eyes.
We bleed out of our eyes?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you poke them.
Yeah. I told you, the eyes don't explode. They're calling back to the first episode.
Eyes don't explode.
They don't do that.
That's not true. Castlevania taught me that they do.
No,
when you hit them with a whip.
Not how it happens. Oh my god, this is gonna be my favorite episode by far. I don't know if I'm gonna upload it to Boss Jelly or Basement of Nerds.
I think it'd probably be fine either way.
Yeah, I want to put up because I usually only do Boss Jelly when we're like there's two of us, or Basement of Nerds when there's more of us. But that's the thing. Well, not Boss Jelly. It's 64 now. But you know what? Fuck it. I have so many names at this point. Just call me with Nick.
We'll call you Boss Jelly Return 64.
Yeah. That was honestly. I'm gonna have to put like a giant American flag through the entire video of that because
just waving.
That was so heavy. That was a lot to talk about. And I know anybody, because I know we're not gonna get like tons of views or anything on this. We never. It's like that's not a thing, and I'm okay with that with this video in particular because.
You never know. It's controversial.
It's very controversial.
Breeds nose.
But it's the thing. I think we came full circle. We explained we explained these problems. We exemplified it. We showed personal examples and current personal examples of it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I feel like I don't know. It's just so goddamn hard to talk about. It's very, very gray. Very. There's no right answer. That's the problem.
No.
That's the issue, is that there's no straight answer. And there never will be. It's just not a thing. But at the same time, I'm really interested to see how the world changes as I get older. Because I'm sure there are people that still remember the 1920s before women had rights, which is interesting to know. Before my great-grandmother died last year, she had lived through that entire thing, and I wish I'd asked her like how that entire ordeal went. And how much the world changed in like those almost 100 years. Mm-hmm. So I honestly don't know where the world's going now, but I'm not afraid of it. I'm kind of just interested to see how it goes. But I'm just hoping that we don't cause some internal civil war, which would be kind of horrifying.
Which
it feels like it's happening.
It feels like it's happening.
It does.
For a long time. It's just a feeling that you have deep down, like there's something.
Because I guess we're gonna keep going political because I had this weird discussion
we gotta cut it off here in a few minutes because I gotta go get my food. And
all right,
we can come back to it.
All right. Well, I'll play some more Castlevania too. But I had this weird argument with myself the other day. It's like it was about war. It's like, well, sometimes we need war for the necessity of things. But it's like, wait, but I don't. But why should we like risk all of our men for like something that we hardly understand? And like, why should they put their lives on the line for something that you think is righteous? Like, sometimes we get sent into like shit like that we only know half the story of, and it feels like constant propaganda. And I know it's like, oh, don't talk about your military service like that. I can be as critical as I want to be. Like, I thank the gods for like people that actually do serve, because there's no way I'd have the stomach for that. I'd literally be the first one dead on lines because I can't kill a person. Yeah, and it's like you'd probably kill somebody as soon as you're on the line, probably. But I don't want to experience that. I don't want to be that, so I'm not going to. I also don't want to have PTSD. That sounds like a really bad time. But I don't know. Because I don't know. It's like, isn't the pro for war like? It's like, oh well, it's good for our economy and stuff. It's like, so we should go and let people die so that we have a few more dollars in our pocket.
Well, we're not letting them. They're choosing to serve. If they should happen to die on a mission or two, then that was their prerogative.
I know you're doing the thing that I do,
so
but I'm so bad at like counter arguing that. But at the same time, all I know is
Mm-hmm.
my emotional response, because that's honestly that's what mostly that is.
Yeah.
Because yours is like, well, we could boost the economy, and it's like, well, you're sending our soldiers to die. It's like, not everybody's coming home. That's a guaranteed fact that not everybody's coming back home. So, I don't know. I could not, in good justice, to be like, I'm going to send my men and women out there to die because my government is inept and can't keep a good balance and has to like outsource all of their fucking money problems. So that's one where I realize that I have more of an emotional response to that. And that's such a weird one. I had that entire discussion with myself the other day. It was more in depth because I was actually researching stuff about it, but that's honestly the summary of what my discussion with myself was.
Well,
because when you like did that little mimic voice, that's honestly kind of what I did in my head too. Like, go on.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna be longer
I
than we
have
probably
to
wanted
say
to be.
that in Grand Theft Auto 4,
Mm-hmm.
the opening where Nico's talking to Roman.
Yes.
I have to give props to whoever either wrote this or if the actor who played Nico came up with it. Whoever came up with this line that I'm about to quote.
Yeah.
War is where the old and bitter trick the young and stupid into killing each other for things that
To me,
they might not otherwise either care or know about. Then obviously the quote cuts off at the killing each other part, but like it's true.
Emotionally, I agree
Like-
with that 100%. Like, absolutely I do. But it's,
You know,
it's like, we need this, but I don't want to sacrifice myself. Let's just get rid of some of these bantha fodder that, you know, they want to sacrifice themselves as a country. Like,
and you can't say that, you know, well, people who join the military, they aren't tricked, they're wanting to do that. And it's like, okay,
and it's not like they don't get any benefits from it.
To an extent, yes, that is their choice. They know well in their heads, yes, I'm going to go join, I'm going to do this for my reasons.
Like, well, they also...
But at the same time, we're in this country, and in many other countries, you're raised to be patriotic and loyal to your country. You're supposed to listen to the elders that run the country.
I don't
You're
want
not
to.
supposed to question... Like, you can question some things, but you can't question too much. You know? It's brainwashing, essentially.
I'm going to go back to the old...
Or it's programming. Not brainwashing, because brainwashing involves
and then
taking out of information, putting...
We're in that, like, really troubled position, though, too. It's like, well, what do we actually do? Like, where do we start? What do we actually do to improve this? And honestly, without a bunch of people, you can't do much of anything unless you start rallying the troops. And usually after that point, when you've rallied so many people, your cause gets muddled and doesn't become what you initially wanted it to be. You either will get more, which is good, or you'll get less, and you'll go get something completely different.
Yeah.
That's what the Crusades were.
Yeah.
We killed a lot of our own Christian men. Good job, Christianity.
Well.
You did good, idiots. I mean, past Christians are idiots. Literally, we killed so many people.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're not. You're just being anti-religious, whatever. I'm not. I just mentioned earlier that it's hard for me to play a Flash game where you crucify Christ. Fuck. Shit.
No, my weed!
I don't know.
God damn it.
At this point, I'm just so... I fried my brain where I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to say without thinking what I'm feeling at this point. Well, which I think is also valid. That's also a valid thing. I mean, you should definitely go back to what you said. I'll probably listen to this and be like, okay, cool. This is what I was thinking at this moment. We'll see how it changes in the future. Because I don't feel like I've changed so many stances on my issues over the years. And one more thing before we leave, I guess, is that one thing that I did with mob mentality is that when I was a kid, everybody told me to vote for George W. Bush on the whiteboard, so I did it. I voted for George W. Bush. I caused that. I caused the steel metal beams to melt. I did it.
It's your fault directly.
It's 2nd grade. It was my fault. Wait, yes, it was 2nd grade for the 2000 election.
Yeah. I remember because I had to do the same thing, except we were supposed to go home and ask our parents like who they gonna vote for.
That's kind of fucked, honestly.
And to get them to tell us about what the candidates were.
You should absolutely
and
not
so
talk to your kids about politics.
So at the time, my parents had said, "Well, we're gonna vote for Al Gore," and
little did they know.
So I was
lose everything except for the popular.
So I was like, okay, I'll just do that too because they're my parents. They know what's best for me, so that's what I'm gonna go with. And so we got to school the next day, and we were like, the teacher was like, okay, so did you guys ask your parents like who they're gonna vote for and blah blah blah. And everybody's like, yeah. And so she was like, okay, so now we're going to make hats. And what you're going to do is you're going to decorate, because, everybody made a red, white, and blue hat out of construction paper or whatever.
We keep extending this, but I wouldn't mind.
I know. This is the last thing.
I have one last thing, too.
Okay, so your last thing, and then I really have to go get my food, because it's been waiting for like a half hour now.
Right.
So we all made hats, and they were like, decorate it with the name of your candidate and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I wrote Al Gore on mine. And then we were told to line up for a picture, and so we all lined up, and all the other kids
were in Bush.
Every single one. I was the only one. I was singled the fuck out. All the other kids had hats on that said Bush, and they all looked at me, and I was like, "What?" And they were like, "Gore."
Dude, I was like, why would they even know what Gore is?
They didn't. That's the thing. They were all going with what their parents said.
My thing goes into what you were saying. My little cousin, I'm not going to say which one, came up to me during, it was 2 years ago. Dude, he's 9. He was at 9 at that point. And he saw, video of Obama, and he's like, oh, I hate him. He's like, why? You don't even know who that is, or why? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't hate George W. Bush as a kid. I thought he just spoke really funny, so I was he's funny.
I didn't care. I
didn't care either.
They all started berating me for picking Gore. They were like, your parents are stupid, you're an idiot. I didn't have a single bad thing to say about them, because my parents didn't badmouth George Bush until after he did a bunch of stupid shit.
If that thing happened right now, I guess, if this thing happened right now during the election, I definitely would have had a bunch of the bad things to say about both the candidates, because my dad hated all of them, except for one. He liked Mr. Sanders.
Mr. Sanders.
I like his jazz. I like his, is it reggae album what he has? It's really funny. I love it. I don't give a shit about, at this point, I don't care anymore about the political stance, except, I kind of do follow a few of the important people that came out of this election, but most of them, hey, what do they do now? Trump was talking to Grimace. Bernie Sanders made an awesome reggae album, which is hilarious. And Hillary Clinton disappeared. She's gone. She went away with the mist. She came back recently, but she was gone for such a long time.
She did leave for a while.
She did not look good. It looked like a tornado had hit her face.
Jeez, that's good. Alright.
Well, I know that's really mean, but
it's fine. I don't care.
She looked sickly. She looked very sickly at one point, which is I felt really bad. At the same time, it's that's life.
That's life.
Alright, we're gonna get out of here before we keep pissing you off, and I keep finding tangents to go on that actually do relate, so they're not really tangents. Alright, everybody. Adios. This is the longest podcast episode.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.